Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Cricket Corner podcast with me, Vatsal Vora. Well, it's just 7 a.m. in the morning, and I'm recording this fresh new podcast is because India have just announced their squad for the upcoming World Test Championship final against Australia. Let me just run down the squad and then we'll talk about things in detail. The major talking point of this squad is the return of Ajinkya Rahane, and it is solely on the back of some brilliant form he has shown in the IPL, which has convinced the Indian selectors to go and play and select him in this squad for the one-off test match at the Oval in in June. I think it's the 7th June, yeah. So the Indian squad for the World Test Championship final is as follows. Rohit Sharma as captain, Shubman Gill, Cheteshwar Pujara, Virat Kohli, Ajinkya Rahane, KL Rahul, Shrikar Bharat, Ashwin, Ravindra Jadeja, Akshar Patel, Shardul Thakur, Mohammad Shami, Mohammad Siraj, Umesh Yadav, Jaydev Unadkat. So that's the squad for the World Test Championship final against Australia, and a couple of interesting inclusions there. Most importantly, it is Ajinkya Rahane's return to the Indian Test side after being sidelined for a couple of years now. And there is also Shardul Thakur in there, and KL Rahul has also found a place in this Test squad despite being dropped from the starting 11 after the first two Test matches in the Border Gavaskar Trophy earlier this year. It is a very strong squad, don't get me wrong, but there are so many permutation combinations which Rohit Sharma and the Indian management can go for their game against Australia, because you cannot solely rely on form and the conditions which they had in the Border Gavaskar Trophy to pick the starting 11 for the game at the Oval in England in June. But sometimes you have to rely on form, sometimes you have to look at the conditions. So a lot of permutation and combinations, as I said already. And I think India need to pick a squad suitable for those particular conditions rather than just relying on, well, they did well against the Australians a couple of months back, so let's just pick them. This is something I think India should learn from Australia, because Australia have been ruthless in picking their squad. Most importantly, they have dropped a few spinners from their squad and instead have gone with quicks and good batsmen who are capable of playing in those English conditions. You can see the likes of Matthew Kuhneman was dropped, Swepson was dropped, Ashton Agar was dropped. More importantly, Peter Handscomb was dropped because they were playing in some fresh new conditions. They picked up the likes of Marcus Harris in that squad. Mitch Marsh has returned. So that's how something India has done as well. You can see that it's the return of Shardul Thakur in the squad because he has had experience of playing test match cricket in English conditions. But then the bowling attack looks super good, be it Indian conditions or playing on dry pitches in India. The likes of Shami, Siraj, Umesh Yadav have always performed well, so no changes over there. I think the inclusion of Shardul Thakur is the only one I can see which has been picked on the back of playing in English conditions, and it feels like this squad is pretty much the same as Border Gavaskar Trophy squad, because let's be honest, the Indian squad is so well balanced that regardless of the conditions, they always have a good amount of options here and there, and they can pretty much play the same exact team and still be one of the better bowling attacks or a better batting attacks than their opposition in visiting conditions. But I feel like there won't be much change in the batting lineup compared to how they batted in the BGT series, but there could be a few tweaks in the bowling depending on obviously the pitch at the Oval, but the conditions will be swingy conditions. Will be like overcast, there'll be wind there. So based on the Indian squad, I think the starting 11 could be something like this: Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill to open, Pujara at 3, then Kohli. I think Rahane will return to the starting 11 straight away. He'll bat at number 5. Then you have Shrikar Bharat as the wicketkeeper. Akshar Patel, Ravi Ashwin, Jadeja, Shami and Siraj. Or well, Jadeja can be further up the order than probably Akshar Patel, Ashwin, Shami and Siraj. But that's my pick for their team. But you never know what will happen with this Indian lower middle order, because we all know they have been contributing a lot with the bat. We have seen that against Australia in the Border Gavaskar Trophy, that the likes of Akshar Patel, Ravindra Jadeja and Ravichandran Ashwin have been contributing with the bat. But then in these bowling friendly conditions, fast bowling friendly conditions in England, do you then play an extra seamer instead of one of those 3 all-rounder come spinners? Because if you want, you can play Umesh Yadav either in the place of Akshar Patel or Ravindra Jadeja. I don't see Ravichandran Ashwin being dropped to put in another seamer in the form of Umesh Yadav, or could even be Jaydev Unadkat. But I see Umesh Yadav further up the pecking order compared to Unadkat himself. So if they decide to play with Umesh Yadav, they decide to drop Akshar Patel, that could be a bit of a choice for the Indian management, because Akshar Patel has been contributing the most with the bat when you compare him, Jadeja and Ashwin. But then Jadeja is a better bowler. He is the wicket-taking bowler out of the 3, along with Ashwin, because we saw Akshar Patel not being given much bowling in the Border Gavaskar Trophy. He barely picked up like 4 wickets in that entire series. So then but he was heavily reliant with his bat, and he played really good particularly in the final test match. So then that's a bit of a choice for the Indians to make, whether to drop Jadeja for an extra seamer or Akshar Patel. So that could be a very interesting decision by Rohit Sharma. Personally, I would bench Akshar Patel to get Umesh Yadav in if the conditions suit fast bowling, because regardless whether you drop Jadeja or Akshar Patel, you still have a really strong batting lineup. Let's say you have Sharma, Gill, Pujara, Kohli, Rahane, Shrikar Bharat can play, Ashwin can bat, Jadeja can bat. You have still got 8 batting options. And then your tail starts with Shami, who is able to play some attacking shots, give you those quick fire 30, 35 runs. And then Umesh Yadav and Siraj. So technically you can bat till number 9. But then if you want to strengthen your batting attack by picking Umesh Yadav in place of Akshar Patel, or picking Umesh Yadav in place of Ravindra Jadeja, then you also have the option of strengthening your batting by going with KL Rahul instead of Shrikar Bharat. Now, KL Rahul has barely kept wickets in test matches. But if he's capable of keeping wickets for, I don't know, 70, 80, 90 overs, then why not go with KL Rahul? Yes, he's not had the best of forms leading up to this World Test Championship final. He's as at the time of recording, he's not had the best of the IPLs as well. There has been a few question marks over his confidence, a few question marks about his shot selection and stuff like that. His captaincy has been all right. Lucknow are doing well, but his personal batting form sometimes feels like a bit had out of confidence, if you ask me personally. But he has shown that he's capable of playing in English conditions. I think he's got a century or 2 in England as well over the past couple of years now. So do you then go for that, how shall I put it, the aggressive call of dropping Shrikar Bharat? Because Shrikar Bharat is a proper wicket keeper. But when it comes to his batting, he hasn't showed much promise. Yes, he's had a good knocks of 20s, 30s here and there in the Border Gavaskar Trophy, but nothing too special if you ask me. So if you want to pick an extra seamer in place of one of the all-rounding spinners, I don't know whether that's a word or not, but you get the point. Whether you are dropping Jadeja or Patel, then I would personally go with KL Rahul if he's capable of keeping wickets, which I doubt, to be honest. But well, you never know, because the reason why KL Rahul is in the squad is I don't see him ahead of Ajinkya Rahane based on what Ajinkya Rahane is showing in the IPL. Well, it's nothing to do with his T20 form. His T20 form has been excellent. At the time of recording, he's playing at a strike rate of 199.04. He scored 209 runs from 5 innings with a higher score of 71 and an average of 52. But that's his T20 form. But the reason why he's in the test squad is A, India lack a proper number 5. They tried Surya Kumar Yadav in the first test match at the Border Gavaskar Trophy. He scored just 8 runs on that occasion. Shreyas Iyer is out with a long-term injury. Otherwise, he would have been their ideal pick in that position. But that number 5 is quite open. And that's the reason why I think they have gone with KL Rahul and Ajinkya Rahane, because one of them will be playing at that number 5 spot. Now, there is an argument which can be made that you can play KL Rahul at 5 and Shikhar Bharat at 6. You can play both of them. But then I don't see that happening anytime soon, because let's be honest, KL Rahul's test squad, I don't see them picking him in place of... particularly in place of someone like Ajinkya Rahane, who has shown a lot of promise in this IPL. He's played domestic cricket, he's found his mojo back, and I that is one of the tough calls to make. But if I'm the selector, I'm definitely going with how shall I put it? Ajinkya Rahane. Yeah, that's the one I'm going for. So, me personally, I would stick with Rahane at 5, play Shikhar Bharat, and then at number 7, I'll have Jadeja. At 8, I'll have Ashwin. At 9, I will have Shami, and then Umesh Yadav and Siraj. So that will be my squad. I think there is no doubt that the top 4 will remain as it is. It is Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Cheteshwar Pujara, and Virat Kohli. Shubman Gill has been in excellent form. Pujara is already in England playing for Sussex, and he's been scoring runs for fun there. So that's no way you're dropping Pujara from this squad. Particularly, how I think he's the most well equipped to play in English conditions, because he has so much experience of playing there. So you cannot drop him. Kohli at 4 is a done deal. I think Rahane will play. Shikhar Bharat will keep wickets, and then it is, as I said, Ashwin, Jadeja, Umesh Yadav, Shami and Siraj. That's the team for me. But India have picked up their squad, and it's a really good squad. And as we have talked about it for the past couple of minutes now, that picking up an ideal playing 11 is going to be tough. We haven't talked much about Shardul Thakur. Well, even he can give you that seam bowling option along with some batting option as well. So he is one of those players who can play in place of Akshar Patel, and instead of being a spinner and a batsman, he'll be a fast bowler and a batsman. He has had one good innings in the IPL for the Kolkata Knight Riders as well. He's bowled decently well. But that's another option if you want to consider in place of Akshar Patel. Akshar Patel is a left-handed batsman, while Shardul Thakur is a right-arm batsman. So that's another option to consider. And I think talking about it now, I feel like that's India would be more inclined to do that rather than go for Umesh Yadav. But Umesh Yadav is good with the new ball. He has the tendency of, having that odd reverse swing when the ball is old. So even he's in the mix to replace Akshar Patel. I'm talking as if Akshar Patel is definitely not going to play. That could be horribly wrong, and they could still opt for all 3 of them being Akshar Patel, Ashwin and Jadeja. But knowing these English conditions, it's always better to play 3 seamers instead of just 2 and then having 3 spinners in the squad, because I think Australia are going to play all their 3 quicks in the form of Stark, Cummins and Hazelwood. So India might as well play one of either Shardul Thakur or Umesh Yadav in place of Akshar Patel or Jadeja. As I said earlier in this podcast, I don't see Ashwin being the one dropped, and Akshar Patel and Ravindra Jadeja keeping that place in this team. I think it is, if India want to play an additional seamer, be it Shardul Thakur or Umesh Yadav, I think the decision has to be made between Akshar Patel and Ravindra Jadeja. Just to quickly say, let me just quickly tell the squad, inform the squad again. It is Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Cheteshwar Pujara, Virat Kohli, Ajinkya Rahane, KL Rahul, Shikhar Bharat, Ravichandran Ashwin, Ravindra Jadeja, Akshar Patel, Shardul Thakur, Mohammad Shami, Mohammad Siraj, Umesh Yadav and Jaydev Unadkat. The World Test Championship final will be played between the 7th and the 11th of June at the Oval in London against Australia. And India would have a second chance of winning the World Test Championship final after suffering a defeat in the last final against New Zealand a couple of years back. I think that was at the Rose Bowl in Southampton. So yeah, that's the squad, and that's a quick podcast on the squad and what I personally feel the starting 11 could be against Australia in a couple of months' time. If you're listening this on YouTube, then make sure you're liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you're listening this on Spotify, then make sure you are giving me those wonderful 5-star ratings. The same can be done on Apple Podcast as well. So if you're listening there, then you can give me 5-star ratings on Apple Podcast as well. This is me, Vatsal Vora, signing off. Ciao for now.